Look into my eyes. Your soul is stained by the blood of the innocent. Feel their pain.
This issue starts with Dan riding through Cypress Hill Cemetery, a place he oddly finds comforting. As he grew up around this particular cemetery playing games with his sister, he created many significant memories here, so naturally he would come here when his life is turning into a nightmare. Many people around him are dying. Demons are plaguing his sleep. So much so, Dan has just been avoiding sleep as much as possible. Everyone Dan seems to come into contact with is killed by the same maniac responsible for his sister's death. As Daniel rides through the cemetery, Blackout follows not far behind. All of this is happening with Hart monitoring the area, ready to strike. Helmet cams, motion detectors, all are keeping them in sync and working as one. They have picked up a heat source coming from beneath the cemetery. These badass women are getting ready to kick some ass. Unfortunately, they're after our boy's bony ass. Dan is riding along. He notices some movement in a bush. He is ready for anything. Okay, you maniac, you want to do it? Let's go. Right here, right now. Suddenly, it's an innocent homeless man, just trying to get some rest. Feel guilty, Dan? Yeah, me too. As he heads away from Dan, he ends up in the worst possible situation, face to face with Blackout. Blackout mocks the man as he gets ready to end his life. We catch onlookers in the sewers, stating Blackout is as bad as Mask. This mysterious Mask is the same guy we heard about in the last issue. We cut back to Dan. The gas cap is glowing. You know what that means. Light shines throughout the cemetery. Miss Tyler is like, what the fuck? Everyone, move in! Blackout, in the middle of trying to remove this poor man's heart, tells the guy not to worry, he won't hurt the guy's face. Blackout seems to have a bit of a complex when it comes to his once pretty face, if it hasn't been made obvious. Just then, Ghost Rider rams straight into Blackout.
No more blood for you, Blackouts. Tonight you will receive full payment for your crimes.
Also, interesting tidbit, this is actually the first time these two have confronted each other since issue 3. I thought that was pretty cool since we, the audience, have seen Blackout more than a few times since then. As Ghost Rider is fixated on the murdering psychopath, just then he is fired upon. Ironically, they state to take him down before he kills these two. Yeah, don't shoot the homeless guy. I'm all for that. But also make sure not to shoot the crazy murderer. Just shoot at the one who is trying to save people. They state they're using special ammunition and it seems to be working on Ghosty. Remember, we have seen that regular bullets do nothing to him. So these women are well equipped. I'm talking about their weapons. Get your head out of the gutter. But Ghost Rider might want to head for the gutter, as it could lead to the sewers, which could be a safe place at the moment. Someone from the shadows tells the rider, as he's struggling to his feet in pain, to come with them. They will take him someplace safe. They tell him to trust them, as they will take him to the children. Blackout watches from the distance, using a line I sometimes say from time to time.
Curiouser and curiouser.
We see Hart outside the mausoleum. They are reporting to Miss Tyler, their field commander, that they have lost him. She is pissed. Elsewhere, X Factor headquarters, home of Cyclops, Beast, Marvel Girl, and Iceman, and also Archangel, but he is not here at the moment. On the news, they hear stories of the kidnapped children. Hank is seen playing with little Nathan and reassuring him he won't be one of the kidnapped children if Beast has anything to say about it. Scott, Jean, and Bobbie, also known as Cyclops, Marvel Girl, and Iceman, discuss investigating as X Factor and locating the missing children. Hank, aka Beast, asks what they should do about little Nathan. Scott is like, it's past his bedtime. Ship will look after him. Just in case anyone is curious, X Factor, the original members of X-Men, took over Apocalypse's ship after a battle with him and used the ship as their headquarters. The ship is super intelligent and a great babysitter for young Nathan, the son of Scott Summers. I don't want to get into the complications of who the mother is, as that would be a long detour from this issue review. Beneath Cypress Hill Cemetery, Ghost Rider is being led by two Morlocks to safety, and they tell the Rider that they are the ones who have the children children and that they are safe. They are being protected from the evil one and need Ghost Rider's help. The Rider tells them that if they speak the truth, he will help them, but for now he must leave as the sun is coming up. He transforms back to Dan Ketch, and Dan wonders if they can be trusted, or the Ghost Rider for that matter. And I won't lie, I'm getting a bit tired of him not trusting the Rider, as after all, this time he has given Dan no reason not to trust him. Later that day, we actually get a really nice chill moment with Dan, as he and Stacy are on a double date with Jack and some chick named Pia that we will never see again. Also, we get confirmation that Dan is now 19. We missed his birthday. They're having a picnic in the park and on the hill that happens to be overlooking the graveyard. Jack says it's the best view in the park, while his date thinks it's creepy. Dan seems to be really appreciative of Stacy and Jack at this moment. It makes him more determined than ever to figure out who has been behind these killings, and if that really is Blackout. I mean, I say duh. I mean, it's gotta be Blackout. Stacy comments on Jack's taste in women, and Dan says it's been a curse of Jack and himself that ditzy women just keep throwing themselves at them. In response, Stacy pwns Dan and tosses him to the ground. Jack asks Dan what he is gonna do when the police academy gives her a gun. At that moment, we see someone observing all of this and responding to Jack's question.
If she lives that long, my boy.
Later, Dan is walking Stacy home and asks her about her father. She tells him Police Captain Dolan, her father, is being overworked and can't rest while the Ghost Rider is loose, and he is determined to catch him. Dan asks her if, after she goes into the police academy, is she going to help her dad take the Rider down? What if he turns out to not be a bad guy? She tells him to shush and kisses him. Aww. She is happy to have this time with Dan and says thank God things are settling down. Then Dan, of course, ruins the moment, saying, how can you say that? People are dying all around us. Which is technically true. But still, dude, don't ruin the moment. Then he bails on her, telling her he will call her. As the streetlights go out, we see Blackout looming above, saying soon it will be Stacy's turn, but not tonight. Oh, thank God. I don't know if I could handle her dying so soon after Barb. I mean, I don't want her to die at all, but you know what I mean. Cypress Hill Cemetery. Oh yeah, I forgot X Factor was in this issue. Scott, Jean, Bobbie, and Hank are flying above the cemetery trying to get the precise location of the last kidnapping, and will investigate from there. Bobbie makes a joke, upsetting Jean. Bobbie is like, what did I say? Hank tells Bobbie to chill and remember that crap that went down during our Inferno crossover, and Bobbie is like, oh yeah. Elsewhere, we have Hart. Also monitoring the area when they get their sights on Ghost Rider. The Rider sees that they are following him and goes into overdrive and loses them. They track his heat signature and are able to track down his bike, but he himself appears to be gone. They decide at least to take his bike. Beneath the cemetery, we find the Rider. He takes comfort in the darkness as he makes his way through the tunnels. He is found by one of the Morlocks. The Morlock tells Ghost Rider that the children are safe, and he will take him to them. Unfortunately, we can see that they aren't alone, as Blackout is following them. As we get to our destination, we find out that Morlock Ghost Rider has been following is named Bertam, and he introduces the Rider to Pixie. Pixie seems to be in charge, and as we can see, has been keeping all of the children safe, and oh my God, it's Pauline! She is alive and well. We last saw her being kidnapped in issue 3. I'm glad she's okay, and she seems super happy to see Ghosty again, as she adorably hugs his arm. This makes me really happy and relieved. Pixie tells the Rider that he apparently has many admirers from the children they have saved. He asks why they hold the children here. Pixie tells him it's for their own protection. As an evil mutant, once one of the Morlocks, named Mask, was attempting to kidnap them. He molds and disfigures the flesh of his victims for his own amusement, as he did to Pixie. The two Morlocks that helped Ghost Rider down here also used to be normal humans whom Mask had disfigured. We see the children are safe and happy. Suddenly, an explosion. It's Hart. I guess they are trying to smoke Ghosty out. Above we have X Factor observing the firefight. Cyclops shoots a path for them. They make their way down into the tunnels and are intercepted by Hart. And here we have May, our hand-to-hand expert. She uses the terms freaks and muties, both derogatory statements against mutants. She is a racist.
You are a racist, man! You are a racist!
Jean quickly acts to protect the children from gunfire. Also, Hart shooting in the direction of children. Not a fan. We cut to Blackout following Pixie, Ghost Rider, and the children. He calls out to the children saying he will keep them safe. Yeah, I don't know about that. Pixie tells them to stay with her. Blackout says,
Well then, Who will protect you, my little fairy queen?
Ghost Rider is done with his shit and lunges towards him. And I don't know if you guys remember, but the Ghost Rider has made this mistake before in his first encounter with Blackout, as Blackout is able to easily use Ghost Rider's momentum against him and throws him to the side and makes his way towards Pixie. Unfortunately, it's all over for her. He jokingly says she will be the first mutant blood he tastes, and then he tears her throat out. Above, Hart decides to retreat because of X Factor. They take note that at least the missing kids are getting away safely. And I say no thanks to you, bitches. They say they have done their jobs and get Ghosty's bike too. Here, we have an important moment as Ghost Rider struggles with his strong need for vengeance, as Pixie tells him the children are what's important, and he should focus on their safety. He feels this need to enact vengeance on her behalf, but she tells him to listen. What good will your vengeance serve if more innocent blood is spilled, the children's blood, while claiming it? She pleads with him to save them. At that moment, the cave begins to collapse on the children. Pauline reaches for Ghost Rider, asking for him to save them. Ghost Rider screams. His motorcycle's gas cap glows. The cycle shoots out of the chopper, and it answers the rider's call. Again, best boy. The motorcycle flies through the caves towards its master. Ghost Rider loads the kids and Pauline on the bike and has them ride to safety, while he takes on Blackout. As they fight, Blackout states he is the one serving vengeance. Vengeance for his face and his life. The man is a complete narcissist. He mocks Ghost Rider even more by mentioning Barb and asking if he remembers her. This pisses off Rider even more as he answers Blackout with a yes, while sending him flying with a punch. They continue battling as the cave collapses around them, Blackout saying he won't die alone. Two as ugly as we deserve to die together.
Goodbye, demon.
Outside, as all the children, including Pauline and the Morlock Bertram, are united with X Factor, Bertram tells Jean and X Factor that Ghost Rider saved them and asks if they are friends with the Rider. Jean just says she's afraid not. Bertram tells them that the rest of his friends are returning the rest of the lost children to their parents, as that is what Pixie would want them to do. Meanwhile, they will keep protecting them from Mask. Jean is shocked to learn Mask was behind this. Hank wonders what they should do about the bike. And Bobbie is like, I don't know about those tires, but I've always wanted a motorcycle. At that moment, Ghost Rider emerges and gets on his bike. Bobbie asks if they should stop him. Scott tells him no. I don't think we could if we wanted to. Besides, who are we to judge a man on the way he looks? Tonight, it's the Ghost Rider's deeds that count. Continuing where the last issue left off, this issue closes out a few plot threads. Specifically, the one with Pauline and the missing children. I really like how they kept this plot going for a while and kept you thinking about it, like in the background. When it finally concluded, it was a somewhat satisfying conclusion. I honestly don't like the whole Mask storyline, just because we don't actually see it close out. You never actually see the Mask villain in Ghost Rider, you just hear about him. I don't know if it was a way to get people to read X-Men or X Factor, which is ridiculous because the X-Men titles were the highest selling titles in Marvel Comics besides Spider-Man. So they really didn't need to sell you on that or get you intrigued on that because most people were already reading X-Men anyways. Besides that, it was nice to finally see Pauline and see that she was alive. I was very, very happy about that. It was exciting to see Ghost Rider and Blackout, fight again. We hadn't seen that since issue 3. After everything that Blackout's done, we've kind of been wanting Ghost Rider to kick his ass again. The dude deserves to get his ass kicked. Holy shit, Blackout is a prick. Besides that, it was nice seeing more of Dan and Stacy hanging out with his friends, just to get a little more of his personal life, It's nice to get to connect to a character and what they're fighting for and what's important to them. So it was really nice to see him spend time with his friends. I don't know, I always like small character building moments like that, or just moments where the character gets to be themselves. I like that stuff, slice of life stuff. Not all the time, but it's nice to have it there every now and then. It's a little bit of a worry anytime he spends time with people close to him and Blackout sees, there is always that chance that Blackout's gonna fucking kill him. So that's something to worry about. It's nice to see, though, that there's this small part of Dan that's starting to really want to use Ghost Rider for good and I really hate every time he does bring up, can I really trust him? I mean, seriously, dude. Ghost Rider has only helped, he's never hindered you. So anytime he does purposely use Ghost Rider, it's nice to see. I think he's slowly coming around to him. Slower than I would like, but he is coming around to Ghost Rider being a force of good that he uses to help people. And also, there's this whole motivation to use him to stop Blackout, which Blackout really is becoming the series' main antagonist, and I really like that. He's a great villain. He's a piece of shit, but he's also a really interesting villain and a villain to worry about. He really is one of the more formidable foes Ghost Rider's fought so far. The Morlocks and Pixie were interesting characters. I really liked Pixie until she died. She was only there for a couple panels, but in those few panels she was in, I really liked her. So I was kind of pissed off that she was taken out so soon.
I also want to point out how important it was for Pixie to teach Ghost Rider the importance of saving the children instead of enacting vengeance. Teaching him that sometimes it's more important to save the people you can instead of avenging those that are already gone.
I really enjoyed this issue. The artwork was fantastic as always. Saltares and Texerira really kick ass. I really like Howard Mackie's direction with these characters, especially Dan. Dan the Ghost Rider, Stacy, Jack. There's some interesting characters. The way he writes Blackout. He really makes Blackout to be a scumbag, but in the best way possible.
I know I didn't talk about the X-Men much, X-Factor much, but that's because, honestly, they don't affect the story too much. They're kind of an afterthought. As much as they are in the issue, they don't affect the story too much. They never interact with the Ghost Rider except for in the very last panel, and that's about it. I think they're only there to tie into the whole Mask storyline and basically carry over Mask back to X-Men, which he wasn't really in Ghost Rider too much. They really didn't serve much of a purpose at all. So that's why I really didn't talk about X-Factor too much.
In the next issue, all I'm going to say is Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, and I hope to see you there. Also, guys, if you watch these videos and haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it. Also, like the video. It helps me out, and it makes me feel good about myself. Anyways, you guys take it easy. I hope you guys all have an awesome day. Have a good one.